Seattle rain never hurries. It falls slowly, one drop at a time, like it has all the time in the world. The scent of fresh coffee drifts from a nearby shop, mixing with the damp air, while the distant hum of traffic sets the rhythm of another ordinary morning. My name is Elena Moore, and I've spent years working as an operations assistant at Blue Wave Dynamics. Long enough to understand that positive work culture usually means everyone is quietly exhausted. The company grows fast, but so does the pressure, and the credit rarely lands where it should. That morning, I was already behind schedule. As I crossed the parking lot, I noticed a man crouched near a piece of equipment, trying to fix it in the pouring rain. His uniform was soaked, hands covered in grease, and his face carried a kind of quiet fatigue that felt familiar. He reminded me of my father, someone who worked hard without expecting recognition. Without thinking too much, I reached into my bag and handed him my breakfast, a sandwich and a warm cup of coffee. "Have you eaten?" I asked softly. He looked up, surprised, then gave a small nod. No words. Just a quiet acceptance. I didn't wait for thanks. I simply walked away, already feeling late, but strangely lighter, like something small had shifted. Inside the building, reality returned quickly. My manager, Rick Dawson, made sure of that. He was the kind of man who filled a room before he even spoke, loud, polished, and always performing. "You're late," he said sharply. I responded calmly, took my seat, and started my day like always, quietly doing the work others would later claim. But that morning wasn't going to stay ordinary. There was a company-wide meeting scheduled to welcome the new CEO. Rick had been unusually enthusiastic about it, as if he expected the spotlight to somehow land on him. When I entered the conference room, everyone was already seated. Rick stood confidently at the center, preparing to impress. Then the door opened. A man stepped in, dressed sharply, composed, his presence instantly commanding attention. His eyes moved across the room, and then paused on me. Just for a moment. But it was enough. It was him. The same man from the rain. The one who had taken my coffee without a word. And now, he was the new CEO. In that instant, something inside me shifted again. Because I realized, today wasn't going to be normal. And something told me, this quiet moment in the rain was only the beginning. The air in the conference room felt heavy, like something unseen had settled between us. Rick stood at the front, delivering his usual performance, confident words, polished phrases, and just enough charm to sound convincing. He spoke about growth, efficiency, and leadership, carefully crafting a version of reality that made him look indispensable. I sat quietly, listening, like I always did. Then Rick casually gestured toward me. "Elena handles the technical details," he said. "She's thorough, just a bit slow." A familiar line. A subtle way of taking credit while lowering someone else just enough to stay above them. I didn't react. But someone else noticed. Samuel Cross, the new CEO, sat at the head of the table, silent. Watching. His expression didn't change, but his attention was sharp. When Rick finished, Samuel spoke calmly. "Impressive," he said. Then paused. "Could you send me the raw data behind these results?" The room went still. Rick hesitated, just for a second, before recovering. "Of course. Elena will prepare everything." "Of course." I gave a small nod. Nothing new there. I was used to being the one who did the work behind the scenes. But something felt different this time. Samuel looked directly at me, not long, not obvious, but enough to make one thing clear. He knew. The meeting ended, and the office returned to its usual rhythm. But beneath the surface, something had changed. An internal request soon followed, an audit of recent data, expenses, and operations. A quiet investigation had begun. Rick brushed it off at first, acting confident, but I could see it in the details, the tighter smile, the sharper tone. He knew something was coming, even if he didn't understand what. That evening, I stayed late. Alone in the office, I began reviewing the records. Line by line. Entry by entry. At first, everything looked normal. Then the inconsistencies started to appear. Payments without contracts. Projects that existed only on paper. Approvals that didn't match real activity. The deeper I looked, the clearer it became. This wasn't carelessness. This was intentional. And Rick's name was attached to all of it. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen. Not shocked, just certain. For years, I had been organizing these numbers. Cleaning them. Making them look perfect. Without realizing it, I had been helping hide the truth. But not anymore. That night, I began saving everything: files, emails, records. Quietly building something stronger than suspicion. Evidence. For the first time in years, I wasn't just surviving the system. I was understanding it. And once you understand something, you can change it. The office atmosphere shifted almost overnight. No one said it out loud, but everyone felt it. Conversations became quieter. Glances lasted a little longer. It was like the entire building knew something was about to break. Rick felt it too. He started hovering more, checking my screen, asking unnecessary questions, pretending everything was under control. But control was slipping. I kept working, calmly collecting and organizing the data. Every file connected to another. Every detail formed a clearer picture. And then the rumors began. Whispers about me and the CEO. Speculation about favoritism. Anonymous messages trying to distract from something bigger. I ignored all of it. Because noise doesn't matter when you have facts. One afternoon, I was called into a meeting by HR. They questioned me about the rumors, carefully phrased but clearly uncomfortable. Before I could respond, the door opened. Samuel stepped in. I invited her because of her work, he said simply. Nothing more. That was enough. No drama. No explanation. Just clarity. Afterward, we spoke briefly. Not as employee and CEO, but as two people who understood what it meant to be overlooked. I've seen this before, he said quietly. The truth takes time, but it always surfaces. I nodded. Because I was already preparing for that moment. That night, I finalized everything. Backups secured. Files organized. Nothing left to chance. The next day, a company-wide meeting was announced. Mandatory attendance. Everyone knew something serious was about to happen. Rick, however, tried one last time. He came into my office, closed the door, and lowered his voice. If you help me, he said, I can protect you. I looked at him calmly. I've been protecting myself for years, I replied. For the first time, he had no answer. He left without another word. And in that moment, I knew. The outcome was already decided. The meeting room was full. Every department. Every level. All waiting. Rick stood at the front, delivering another confident speech. But this time, something was off. His voice wasn't as steady. His movements slightly tense. Then Samuel stepped forward. With one click, the screen behind him changed. Data appeared. Clear. Precise. Undeniable. Transactions without contracts. Repeated approvals. Hidden records. Rick's name on all of it. The room went silent. Rick tried to speak, something about errors, about systems, but the words didn't hold. Because numbers don't lie. And this time, they were finally being seen. Samuel didn't raise his voice. Would you like to explain? He asked calmly. Rick couldn't. The silence said everything. Moments later, the decision was made. He was removed from his position, pending further investigation. No shouting. No chaos. Just truth, doing what it always does. Standing on its own. I sat quietly, watching it unfold. Not celebrating. Not reacting. Because this wasn't about revenge. It was about balance. For the first time, the work I had done, the truth I had protected, was visible. People approached me afterward. Some thanked me. Others simply nodded with respect. Things had changed. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. But permanently. Later, as I walked through the office, the atmosphere felt different. Lighter. Clearer. Like something heavy had finally been lifted. Outside, the rain still fell, steady, patient. Just like before. But now, it sounded different. Not like background noise. Like a reminder. That even the quietest actions can lead to the loudest consequences.